Hello, internet buddies. It's a snow day here, and it was such a snow day that it was a very rare occasion where I got to work from home remotely. So I have spent, let's see, since Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, about 3 days in the house, which I promise has been hardest on my puppy. But she's taken it like a champ. I have an older dog as well. Well, let's call her middle-aged. She's 8 years old. But my baby puppy is about 1 year old, and she has handled it like a champ. But we're all a little stir crazy. I've done a lot of sewing projects to get me through these trying times. But got through remote work, actually stayed really busy, which was nice. And I needed, I think as many people need, a purge from the world. The world is difficult right now. It's painful. It's difficult to be a caring person at this time in the world, but we persevere. One of the ways I mentally persevere is I do a lot of what I call analog projects, tactile, non-digital. This is one I've been working on. Got these beautiful little fabrics, and I am making little 16 blocks. So essentially 4 this way, 4 this way, 4. You can see I've already done 3 of these blocks here. I am doing these in English paper piecing because I'm a very terrible precision sewer. And for me, it's nice to have a hand project, and also I get a lot more precise results when I do it this way. So English paper piecing is relatively new to me, and it's never been something that I've spent a lot of time on. These squares are 1.5 inches on each side, and I cut the fabric squares to 2 1/4 inches because I wanted to have a little extra give since they're so small, but also didn't want too much fabric to either waste or, you know, bulk up my situation. The way I do these squares is I just finger press one side, and then I go down, finger press the second side. One of the greatest tools in modern sewing are these tiny little clips. Beep, 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 beep. So I just clip a side when I'm done with it. Finger press this way. This just helps, I think, keep things a little faster for when I'm actually basting the square, and also helps kind of reinforce that crease a little bit. So I've got my little needle here. I love my little lap desk. I use this all the time when I'm working on my laptop, but it's great for sewing because I can stick. I always have to have lotion when I'm working with fabric. I don't like the way it feels in my hands sometimes. I have my quilting thread, have my little squares and my little papers. And then I like to keep the ones I finished within sight because it gives me a reason to carry on. I have to see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. Taking my thread, I'm gonna do a quilt stitch, or sorry, a quilter's knot, which is gonna hold the thread and the needle pointing each other, hold the thread against the needle, run around it. I do 4 times, and then pull your little needle there. This is probably too much thread, but I would always rather have too much than too little. Oh, I forget the other great thing about this little lap desk is it has this little cushy wrist thing, which is a makeshift pin cushion, so I can stick my needle there. The way I do this is sticking my needle in a corner. I'm going catty corner, as you can see. The goal is to go through all the layers of fabric, but not through the paper. You can feel your needle scratching the paper. So you're gonna pull it in there. You're gonna back stitch, which means going back and basically the exact same place so that you're reinforcing that. And then you have your cute little secure corner. Take off edges. And we're gonna go, I do catty corner. I don't know if it matters. People do a lot of things. This works for me, so I don't, and at this point in time, I don't have any special interest in knowing if I'm doing it the wrong way, because this works. So I'm just go through on every corner. I just go 2 times to secure that stitch. One, two, and sometimes I do mess this up, and like I'll go in on this top fabric and then I'll accidentally not realize I didn't catch the bottom fabric, but it becomes obvious pretty fast that you didn't secure all the fabric down. So we have that. Just gonna tie off a quick knot. Eject my thimble while I'm doing that. Pull the knot down. All right. So, see, these go pretty fast. This is not the fastest way to make a block like this, but it works for me. And like I said, I like having a hand project. I put all my little stuff, like this is all I need right here to do this project. And I have this cute little bag that I stick everything in. And so, for example, if I'm going to the doctor and I know I'm 1000% likely to wait for a while, I can just throw this bag in my purse or just carry it on me, and I'll have something to keep my brain and my hands occupied while I wait. You'd be shocked at how much you can do in a relatively short amount of time. And so, since I've made 4 of these now, I'm gonna show quickly how I join them. They're so cute. This is not typically my style of fabric. Let me just show you. So I'm gonna secure one corner of it, the opposite corner I'm working from, with a clippy just to help reinforce. I'm gonna go in at the corner here. And there are 1,000 tutorials. This isn't an actual tutorial. I'm just showing you how I do it. But especially at these edges where you know you're gonna have a lot of pressure on your stitches, it's always good to reinforce a little bit. And then you just go down the line. Best advice I've heard is keep it parallel. So I go straight across from one square to the other. See, so I would go straight across from one square to another. You really, people say all the time, you're only trying to grab like a thread or 2. That is true. I don't always do that. Sometimes I get a little bit more because I get a little insecure. But I'm just gonna whip stitch my way across this and join these together. As I was saying about the fabric, this is not my typical style of fabric. I'm definitely a modern sewer, and I like some of the modern fabrics a lot more. But, big but, once in a while, I'll just see these super cute, uber traditional, chintzy little fabrics. And this is actually a fabric designer called Tilda, I think. It might be Norwegian. I'm not sure. If you're familiar with Liberty of London, I think it's kind of a Norwegian version of Liberty of London. It's very expensive, which is why it's kind of and I've never been sure what kind of fabric or project I would even want to make out of this fabric, so that's why I'm doing these tiny little squares. That can be a very long-term project, so I can just buy a little bit at a time as I need it. But just going across, whip it real good. But so yeah, coming off a 3-day snowy weekend, and it was, I mean, it did snow a lot for where I live. 8 inches is a lot of snow for where I live. But man, the cold was worse than the snow. If it was just snow, I might have braved it a little bit and tried to like get out and play with the dogs and stuff, maybe take a walk, but the cold is vicious. Vicious and painful, if we're being really honest. Like, it's been from like 0 to 10 with wind chills in the negatives. And let alone I can't do that to me, I can't do that to my dogs. No matter how much they think they want to go for a walk, that is danger level temperatures. So we've been in the house. I've tried to play engaging sensory games in the house. I'm sure the dogs would say they were not that stimulating. So when I'm done getting across, I just go a little bit back down, back stitch a little bit, as this is called, just to get that thread more secure. I've heard people say you don't have to like knot off when you do this because you're doing your little back stitch, but I'm not putting in all this work to have stitches come out. So as you can see, you open it up and ta-da, it's cute. Any master quilter would probably be like, oh, not the best stitches, but I don't care. I'm just having fun. So basically what I do is I'll make this little unit of 4 and then I'll make 3 more of those so it becomes a 16 square block. In quilting that's called a St. Louis 16 patch. But yeah, this is my project for tonight and it's pretty nice. And it's just about time for my pitty pat Nessie to come say hi. So have a good night, stay warm.